Welcome back to the Tool Crib. Today we are going to be looking at the Knipex CoBolt compact bolt cutters. These are model number 7101-200, and the 200 specifies the overall length of the tool, 200 millimeters, and for us in Imperial that's going to be about 8 inches. It's actually just a touch over 8 inches, and oftentimes these are referred to as the 8-inch compact bolt cutters. Now, these were recommended to me a while back. Actually, a bunch of different people recommended it to me, and I've been aware of them for a long time. I just never pulled the trigger on one. Most of the time, most of everything that this can do, a good set of high quality diagonal cutters can do as well. But diagonal cutters do have their limitations, and this is actually has a bit more capacity than what you're going to get out of a good set of diagonal cutters. Now, I was surprised to find out there's like 14 different versions of this particular tool. This one that we're looking at here is going to be kind of your plain Jane version. It's going to have your plastic handles, it's going to have your straight jaw, and it's not going to have any spring assist on it. So there are other versions that are going to incorporate comfort grip handles. There's going to be versions that have spring-loaded jaws. There's going to be versions that have a recess in the cutting jaw. That's for cutting on larger material. If you find yourself oftentimes cutting on a bit thicker material, then that recessed jaw will actually help trap that material in there and allow you to get a better cut on it without it slipping out or trying to slip out the front of the jaw. And they also have a 20-degree angled jaws that incorporate what they call flush cut, which will have the connection bar here just on one side instead of on both sides, so that you can cut up against material that's going to be on a flat surface, such as cutting off nails out of a board or something like that. I've actually got one of those versions on the way because I like this particular tool so much. I've had it for a couple weeks now, and I've been using it quite a little bit actually, and I've been really impressed with how good it actually is. So I ended up ordering, I'm keeping this one here in my garage, and I'm ordering one for the job, which is going to be comfort grip handles, spring action, and 20-degree angled jaw, which is going to work better for us on the job site. I think it's going to be a little bit more advantageous for the types of things that we need to do with it on the job as opposed to what I'm going to be doing here in the garage. So let's take a little closer look at the Knipex 7101-200. Well, the first thing we want to discuss is its overall capacity. You'll notice here on the handle it states it as piano 3.6 millimeter. Piano wire is going to be like spring wire. It's going to be one of the hardest wires that you're going to ever encounter, and this is capable of cutting through a 3.6 millimeter spring wire. For us in Imperial, that translates to about 5/32 of an inch. The next stage up, or I guess the next softer material, is going to be your hard wires or your harder steels. That's going to be stuff like your wire rope and steel wire. Now the rating on that is going to be about 4 millimeters on this particular tool, which is still going to fall right just a touch over 5/32. It's going to be in between 5/32 and 3/16. The next softest steel up is going to be your medium steels. That's going to be stuff like nails and larger tie wires. That's going to bring the rating up to about 5.2 millimeters in overall capacity, or about 7/32 of an inch. So just under a 1/4 inch in nail size. The last scale, or the last materials that you'll be cutting through this is going to be your soft materials. That's going to be stuff like copper wire, aluminum wire, plastics. The rating on that is going to be at 6 millimeters or a full 1/4 of an inch. So pretty decent capacity. Again, these are not designed, these are mini bolt cutters, so they're not going to take the place of like a 24-inch set of bolt cutters that are designed to get through padlocks and larger bolts. Now you can cut off stuff like machine screws with this stuff, or with this particular tool, but you got to work within the capacities of the tool. These are a great option for cutting through a variety of different materials, but they're definitely not going to replace a full set of bolt cutters. Now Knipex calls first of all, these are going to use a chrome vanadium forged steel for the jaws. They are very strong, and they use a multi-stage oil hardening system. So that's how they create their temper, and it's going to bring their hardness for their jaws up to about 64 HRC, which is pretty good. It's pretty substantial. They claim it has precision cutting edges, which the cutting edges on there are actually really nice and come down to a nice point. You can see I've got a little chip on the paint there where the paint's where I've used these quite a little bit, but other than that, the jaws are in perfect condition. What it incorporates what they call their compound leverage, which is going to bring it up to about 20 to 1 hand pressure to jaw rating. So the way they accomplish this is at the center point here, they have a little pivot ball or pivot pin. That's going to be the main fulcrum, and then they incorporate 2 different other pivot points out on the jaws themselves, and that's where they get that compound leverage, which gives you that 20 to 1 ratio. Now, these are going to do most everything, or I'm sorry, a set of diagonal cutters, a good high quality set of diagonal cutters, is going to be able to accomplish and get through most anything that this can get through. Not entirely, but for the most part, quite a few of the same things. The difference is in a set of good quality side cutters, you're going to be probably 10 to 1, or sometimes depending on the style, maybe 13 to 1. These are going to get through that type of material, those types of materials, just cut through them way easier. It's going to be noticeably easier to get through them with that compound leverage. It really does make a difference. It's, in multi-tool, SOG does that compound leverage with their pliers. And while a lot of people think it's kind of gimmicky, it actually does work the way they incorporate it. And this is based on kind of the same principle. So it is definitely easier to get through that type of material. Now, I've got a few selections of things. I don't have any spring wire, unfortunately, but we've got quite a few things that we're going to cut through and kind of show you what the capacity of these Knipex mini bolt cutters actually is. So the first stuff that we're going to cut through is going to be pretty light stuff. That's going to be super easy for these type of material. The first thing is just a little piece of vinyl hose. You can see that the cutters are so precision on there that actually makes a very, very nice cut through there. The next thing is 12 gauge stranded wire. Again, another incredibly simple task for this particular set of cutters. So now, because they're shear type, you're going to see that it's going to kind of crush the wire down a little bit, as opposed to some other types of different cutters. The next thing we have is 10 gauge soft wire as well, and while it's not quite getting through there, I'm not sure why. Maybe I just don't have it set right. It doesn't have any issue getting through those as well. Now we're going to move up into nails, and the first thing we're going to have is just a regular 8-penny nail, and this is pretty easy for this one. It's slipping through there. Now, as you get higher in capacity, the way they state to do it on their website is you want to pinch into it and then bring it closer to the fulcrum to get another bite in order to get through some of those thicker materials. So this particular one, I can just swing through there, but we're going to hit it once and then we'll bring it down closer to the fulcrum, and you can see it was pretty much zero effort. The next one is going to be a little bit tougher. This is going to be 16 penny nail. You'll want to crush through it, get it closer to the fulcrum, and again, has no issue getting through there. Now, the next thing that I have here is what we're going to be using it for on the job site a lot. This is number 9 tie wire. This isn't galvanized. A lot of times these will just come out in regular steel, but we use galvanized. And this is the type of stuff that we'll bundle steel up with. And when it comes in on the trucks, we have to cut this stuff off. You'll double wrap this, and that's what if you get a load of angle iron or beam or whatever, it'll be tied with this stuff. Now, this stuff is a little tougher to get through than some other types of wire, because this is pretty thick stuff. But it really didn't have that much issue getting through there as well. And the last thing that we're going to do on just regular steel, this is actually 3/16 solid rod. And you can see I actually cut this off the stock with these particular cutters. So it'll definitely get through there. So again, you want to, because this is thicker material, and this is probably where those recess cutters would come in a little bit handier, because you'll have a little bit of a recess that'll trap the wire further back, as opposed to allowing it to slip forward. It doesn't really have much of an issue. So this one I have to use 2 hands to get on it. We're going to crush through it, and then we're going to get it closer to the fulcrum. And I actually had to do this a couple different times in order to really get it cut through. So on the last one, we'll slip it through there. You notice, as long as you step it back on this larger material, it really has no issue. Now, the last 3 items I have are going to be in cable. This is going to be like your 30-pound picture frame wiring, and you can see it didn't have much of an issue getting through that stuff. I'm not sure why I didn't cut it that smooth. It usually has been doing better. Maybe I've doled them just a touch. The next one is going to be 50-pound, and you can see it has zero effort getting through there. Now this last one is what we use a lot on the job. This is going to be 5/32 galvanized cable. We use this a lot for back hanging duct work and other different tasks. So this is a little bit tougher. Now one of the things with this type of jaw as opposed to a true cable cutter is that if you get it close to the edge, it's going to try to fan it out because all those wires are just going to try to separate. So we're going to get a bite a little bit further down, and it should handle this without any issue. A little bit tougher to get through, but it makes a very clean cut on that as well. So these are very, very good cutters, and you can see the types of materials that they'll get through. What's most impressive is it getting through that 3/16 solid rod. I thought that was that's a pretty hefty task, and that's not something you're going to be able to get through with diagonal cutters. Now, before I forget, apart from its cutting capacity or its cutting ability, there is actually one other function to this tool, and it's on the back here. They have a grip section here on the back where you can pinch in wire, use it as a wire pull, or as in the case if you have a nail set in the wood that's sticking out a little bit, you can grab hold of it and use it as a pry tool and pry it out of there. So another feature to these mini bolt cutters. Now again, I've only had these for a couple of weeks, but I have been very, very impressed with their capabilities. This is a tool that I like so much that I ordered that second set, and it's just going to be better for us with the comfort grip handles, the assisted opening, and the angle jaws. This is going to work really, really well. Now, when I was looking these up, I actually found another pair. These are kind of popular with the EDC community because they're considered to be kind of an EDC tool. I think they're a little bit big for that, for someone who wants to just carry something around like this all the time. Now, if you're on a job site, I think they're almost the perfect size because you're not really concerned about weight, and you're on the job, and so you're going to be using them quite a little bit. But if you want something that's a little smaller, the one I found is the smaller version of this one, and this is the Knipex 7101-160, which is pretty much the same version, only in a smaller package. And while its capacity ratings are not going to be the same as the larger version, you can see the piano wire is 3.6 on this one and 3.0 on this one. So the capacity is definitely not going to be on par with one another, but I feel like these will probably be a better option for those who are looking for kind of an EDC tool. I like these as well, and this is one we're going to look at when on our next the next Knipex tool that we're going to be looking at. But this one here, the 7101-200, and its variants are very, very good tools, and one that I, even with my limited time with them, can highly recommend. In fact, there's not much from Knipex that I won't recommend because they just make outstanding quality tools. The made in Germany, and the Germans just know how to make tools. That's just a simple fact of it. There's several different companies out of Germany that just make high quality tools. This has been a look at the Knipex 7101-200. I hope you've enjoyed. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button, and I will see you in the next one.